Hi, this is Antminer Repair, and tonight we are going to look at temperature sensors. If you're excited about this content, keep watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do, because that's how maybe I can help pay for all this equipment I bought to bring you these videos. There is a PayPal link or a Bitcoin link up there. Also, the little bell, if you push that, will notify you when I push out a new video. There's probably going to end up being several videos about temperature sensors. So let me see what else. Oh, let me tell you about the Discord server really fast. We have a thriving community for repairing Bitcoin miners. The link will be in the comments, the description of this video, and you go there and you go to the rules section and hit the green checkbox, and you will be admitted into the world of miner repair. And there's a bunch of people that are figuring out how to repair. Some know how, some are helping. Great place to start and ask questions. Okay. All right. So this card stopped working. Basically, I won't mine. Finds 30 chips, but won't mine. And so I threw it on the test fixture, and it just came back and said sensors NG for no good. So I actually probably should have hooked it up to the miner and tried to start it up to see what it would do. But basically, it's just saying it has no idea what temperature this is running. Can't even look at it. So I'm not going to go further. So I wanted to take the opportunity just to talk about temperature sensors as a whole. So this is a T17 board, which I work a lot on. And if you look at this, the temperature sensors are on these two rows. So I third row in from the end is how I kind of keep track of it. And there's a block of four in the middle. So each of these middle sections is where the temperature sensor resides. It doesn't reside up front here, although the front, this top has something to do with it. If we look at these chips, you'll see some lines going out that go to the temperature sensor, not the middle bank, but the top two. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll take a look at that. And then I already removed these heat sinks just so you can see where stuff is. And I'm sorry for the glare. You know, I gotta have lights for video and it glares, and I figured out a good combination. But if you pull off the third from the bottom on the back there, you'll see this little chip right there. Right there, right there, and right there. Those are my 4 temperature sensors. And let's switch cameras. Let me switch cameras. Let's take a look at, whoop, there went a card. Let's take a look at what those look like. So let's go find this dude. So let's look at what I might presume to be number 1. Let me see, where's my finger? Oh, there's my finger. Come on back. There that beast is, right there. So that's the temperature sensor. And I started learning about these. You know, the first thing you think of when you think your chip is running hot is, oh, the temperature sensor is bad. It's different than all the rest. I'm going to throw some alcohol in this. I literally just took these off. I haven't looked much, so clean up this area. So as you see, this temperature sensor, it could be made by TI. So it's T451 97J PK. So really what this is I think the 97J is the type of temp sensor. The T451, Texas Instruments makes this. So I did a lot of research and I found, so I found some on Alibaba or something that people were selling. So I figured out what it was just to see if I ordered it. So there's one of them. Obviously there's a power circuit surrounding it and a couple other things. So why don't we look at the data sheet for this, and it kind of explains what's going on. So I'm gonna share that out right now. Let me see, right there. All right, so Your Antminers probably don't have actual Texas Instruments chips, but if you want to buy some in the USA, you probably can find some, or obviously from China, you can get them. The first thing to notice here is that I just go down to the schematic, but the description, remote and local temperature sensor. So that means it'll get some from a remote area and be sent to it, and there's actually a local temperature. So if you remember on your Antminer boards or your console there for your Antminer, you actually see two temperatures, the board temperature, which would be the local temperature, and the remote temperature, which is the chip temperature. Now, you may think that Antminer is watching every single temperature on every single chip, and they're not. They only check it on 4 temperatures across the board, and if you've got one in the middle overheating, good luck. It's probably going to go bad and start causing errors in a different way. But I guess they figured if they distributed these temperature sensors across the board, that they could get a pretty good idea of the temperature overall of the mining board. So further on down, we actually have the schematic, and I think there's something interesting about the schematic for this. So it looks like the first four legs, actually not really 4 legs, but 8, 7, 6, and 4 pins are supplied 1.7 to 3.6 power, probably 1.7 on the T17 is probably what it's taking. But there's some interesting things. It has a ground, chip 1 is ground. Here is chip 2 or pin 2 and 3 on this temp sensor go out to a processor or ASIC. ASIC stands for application specific IC, so it could be anything. We call ASICs mining chips, but it's kind of called that too. So inside the chip, they've programmed this thermal transistor or diode, and the temperature sensor through wires going up to the chip that's above it constantly reads the chip. And then these temp sensors basically have, I think, the thermostat going out, two thermostat lines, and then I think, oh, the alert. 6 is the alert. They actually have it so that if you get to an over temperature type of thing, you can alert it and have it shut stuff down. I'm not sure it doesn't alert for the Antminer. I think it just continually reads the temperature. Now that's all in good. So I found out where the wires come out of the chip here and go to the temperature sensor here. What I haven't figured out yet is this concept of SM bus controller. I have traced this back to the PIC chip. So the PIC chip seems to be reading in various places these 4 temperature sensors. It monitors them. And I think I've seen some errors like cannot read the temperature on temperature sensor 2 or temperature sensor 1, or sometimes you see 1, 2, and 3, or 2 and 3. And I kind of have a feeling that it's kind of like the ASIC chips on the board, that they're all in a line in a series. This is my theory. I don't know if this is correct, but if 1 is bad and not transmitting, or temperature sensor 2 is not receiving, or not talking to the bus, the following ones won't transmit. It seems to be that you always get, after 1 goes bad, the following ones report. So that's just a data note when you're seeing those types of errors, because you'll see 4 or 3 bad or 2 bad, and it starts at a certain place. So just for some reference there. All right. So I'm going to show you the board. I'm going to show you where these lines are, and I'll show you the sensor. And I'm not sure where to start this. I think the first thing is to check the chips themselves to see if there's any solder balls or anything noticeable about the chip. I'll show you where those lines go out for the temperature sensor. And if you look at your repair guides, you'll actually see on the ASIC chip from Bitmain, there's actually 2 outputs, I think, or maybe even 3 for temperatures. So that's good to know. So let's have a look at that. Right here. All right, so I'm gonna switch this over to the side. I literally just took these off and didn't look at anything. So we should examine the chips first. So let's get busy on that. Let me straighten this out just a touch so it's the right way so I can work with it. Oh, here's my chips. Take a little dirty on the air intake side. So let's talk about this chip right here, and then we'll compare it to the chip next to it. This is chip number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the temperature chips are 7 and 9, and then the other one's over here. So this is temperature chip 9. So I would assume this would probably be number 2. I don't know if it goes in line, but it looks like I have a solder ball right there, and so we're going to check that out. However, that's in the main kind of line of things. I'm going to remove that for sure. But in fact, let's get rid of that solder ball right now. So I can find my needle. Ah, here we go. Let's see here, right? I think it's that dude right there. It doesn't even look like it's real high on there, so it might not even be touching. I really doubt this is causing. Boy, I hope I have him on here. I think I do. All right, so they're gone. All right, so the actual temperature probes, you see where these lines leave? I think it's one of these or two of these 4 that actually come over here and go into the board. On the other side of the board right here is near where the temperature sensor is. So I'm going to advance to the middle chip where the middle chip doesn't have that on the output. And it's dirty. So let me clean it up so you can see the line. Yeah, not quite there yet. Take it out. Starting tube here. Yeah, if you notice these two guys, well, these two guys go nowhere. Gosh, is that another solder ball there? Yeah, that one might cause problems if it were going to the temperature sensor, but it's not. So notice that these two go to terminators here. I don't think these go anywhere. I think they just sit here. I'm not of the belief that every single chip measures its temperature across the way. I think it's only 4. I mean, there's always the thing I could be wrong, but it's not what I found out. So these are kind of like dead-end terminals. So this is the middle chip. And then if I go back to chip number 7, same place, you got all these dudes coming, leaving here, going underneath the board to the temperature sensor. Okay? So I've successfully diagnosed a bad temperature sensor. Well, the problem is if you find a bad sensor, is it the sensor or is it the chip above it? Because if there's not good solder here on these ports, you're not going to get a good temperature and you're going to get an error. If the chip is faulty, the diode in here, you're not going to get a good temperature. So it could be always the chip. People's first thing is shoot the messenger and not the person telling the message. And this guy's telling the message and the temperature sensor is the messenger for sure. Let me check my other chips over here. This is on the other side of the board. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 20, no. Yeah, 22, 23, and 24. So this is chip 22. And it also goes right here. And solder balls are abounding. All right, so this one also talks to the temperature sensor underneath. Things look generally pretty good on this. I haven't put alcohol in these to really look at them, but generally it looks pretty good. The middle one is terminated. Three of them are terminated on this. I don't know what the difference is yet. I haven't had to research that one. And then the final chip generally looks okay. So I had one solder ball, but not in the area of temperature sensors. So these all look okay. So how do I deal with these guys? How do I try to get a feel for which one of these may be bad? Well, the answer is I actually start taking resistance readings on each one of the legs. I don't even think that's the sensor, that's the LDO. So the sensor's right here. They're hard to get to, but I actually do. There's a solder ball hanging off that dude too on the back. I'm going to show you the technique I've used before that seems to work. I have a short memory, so I write these things down. And so we're going to go through that process and just see what this reveals. I'm not sure we're going to find anything special about this. It could be a bad chip. It could be a short in the SMB bus. Could be a PIC chip problem. I mean, I'm not quite ready to diagnose this, but let's at least check these sensors out and go from there. So, all right. So I think I'll go to the larger video for this, the larger camera. Just be known, I'm going to touch each one of those. Basically, I'm going to touch each one of those ports. I'm going to move my microscope out of the way a little bit. So let's see what we have here. Adjust this guy so you can see the voltmeter. Let's bring this light down. Maybe it'll be easier. All right, so I still got some daylight out here. So let's work on this side just so I can show you what I do. And there's about 6 legs. The first thing I'm going to do is clean it, which I could have done on the microscope. 6 or 8 legs. There's 8 legs there. And actually, I am going to need the microscope to do it, but I'll kind of show you my setup here. I'm going to clean all these with a little bit of alcohol, wipe them off, get to where I can see each one of the legs. They're kind of hard because it's like almost like a QFN chip. So, all right. So I'm basically going to test. I'm going to put it on resistance. And basically, I'm going to ground to the ground plane. And these legs are really hard to get to. You'll probably want to use the microscope. But I'll start at the top and click through each one of these. And I'm going to write each one down on a piece of paper. So I'm going to have sensor 1, sensor 2, sensor 3. I'll start 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of do a U shape. So I'm going to write them down. And now I'm going to compare them and kind of see. There's enough readings. I think there's 8 readings. Yeah, something like that on these. So there's enough readings that you can't quite remember, or I can't quite remember. It's kind of hard to do. So I've got thought I had my handy dandy pen. If I don't, I'll go get it. Here it is. So sensor 1, I'm kind of off to the side here. You see me writing. Sensor 2, sensor 3, sensor 4. Then I'm going to make a table. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just make my table on paper. So this is how I keep track of it. It's going to look something like that. Okay. And I'm going to start writing down. I'm going to be very methodically and go the same direction. And then at least on paper, you can kind of see a profile of what's going on there. Now, I kind of think that since none of the sensors are good, that maybe it's the first one, but I really don't know. In all honesty, I don't know what's wrong with this board yet, because usually you get one sensor bad or 2 showing up in the error logs. And I may have to put this on a miner and try it just to get more information, but I thought this would be good and instructive. So I'm going to turn back on this light. And we're going to move the camera into place so I know I'm getting the right pin. In just a second, I'll switch the video. Let's see here. Get it all set up for when I turn on the video. Right there. Okay, so this is the first target we're going to do here. All right. So I have limited space here. So put my alcohol away so I don't tip that over. Hold the paper. Move my, all right, good. I got a place to write. Haven't lost my pen. All right, so we're starting on chip number 1. And I'm grounding to the chip plane. And let's go to this side first. I'm going to start at the part away from there. So I'm going to go read pin 1. And I literally get nothing. So I'm going to go to pin 2. It's like I'm trying to watch the wrong thing. I'm gonna go to pin 2. I get about 6K on pin 2. I might have the pin numbers messed up on this. Let's try 1 again, make sure I'm not in there. Ah, so I did get something on 1. 6K, unless I'm touching that dude. No, 6. 6. 10 mega ohms. And about 0.4. 6, 6, 10, and about 0.4. All right, I wrote this down wrong on my table, so I scribbled them out. All right, let's do the backside. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually opposite, that's chip 1, but it's okay. Just be consistent. Here's pin 1. 6K again. I can't quite see in there. Gee, my cleaning didn't do very well, did it? Let me try again. See if I can get in there. There. Let's make sure I'm getting in there. It's kind of hard. So there's the, oh no, it's not 6. 1.5. 87K. 1.5, 87K. Then the last two. 2.2. And then 254. All right, scribbled enough on that one. Let's move to chimp sensor number 2. All right, looks like I need to clean him up again too, a little more so we can see in there. And I put my alcohol away. Hang on. Pour a little bit of that in there. Okay. Let's get some alcohol in the situation here with the back side of him. It's right here. Pretty small sensor, really. All right, looks like I can see him on both sides. So. Okay, so let's start with 1 through 4 again. Here goes. Go. Now I'm grounded to the chip where it's at. There's 6. 6. 1.3 mega ohms. I'll just call that 0.7. So it was 6, 6, 1.3 mega ohms, and 0.7. Okay, let's get the back side of it. So I'm grounding to the chip where the feeds will come. Let's see if I can, I want to scoot the board up so I can see it, but it's just the light. So let's see. So I got 1.5, 15, 1.5, and 1.2. So 1.5, 15. Let me try that again. Oh no, he went up to 83. Well, I got to measure carefully. The first is 1.5, then so it's 1 point, it's growing, 1.7, 1.8. It's weird, it's climbing. Yeah, 2.2. That's weird, it keeps growing. Okay. Then 14, 19, and then 10. So the only thing I'm a little concerned about is my second reading down. Again, I'm going to try it one more time. So I've got 1.5, that's consistent. Then I've got this guy right there. Yeah, it says 0.5. Okay, that's weird. Okay, so I've done that one. Let's move on. I'll move my microscope out so I can reach stuff. So we're going to do in the U shape. So I'm going to wrap around to the bottom. That may not be how Bitmain does it, but there that guy is. Let me clean him up. But I haven't changed any orientation, so. All right. Here goes. I'm grounding. I'm going to try the back side first. So I get 6, 6, 1.3, 0.5, 6, 6, 1.3, 0.5. Okay. Then I'm going to get the other side of it. It's a little bit harder for me because it's hard to see with this. Oh, I can turn on the light. Hang on. Prepare to be blinded. Oh, no, the light was on. Turn it up. It just makes the shadows worse, right? Okay, let me turn that light back. Okay, so here we go. Okay, about 1.5. 15. 0.9. And 1.0. Well, $1.18. I'm not sure that's a good reading. So 1.5. What did I say? 15. So I just really need to do these two at a time because they're hard to grab. It's like 3 ohm. Boy, I'm sure beating that up in there. It's like 0.5. Then the third one I need to get one more time, which is somewhere in here. I'm getting about 14 or 15. Okay, last one, and then we're going to take a look at the sheet of paper and talk about it. And then what to do, I don't know. Okay, clean him up. Yeah, there's a couple solder balls hanging around, but enough to matter. Okay. All right, so the back side first. 6, 6, 4, 1. 6, 6, 4, 1. And that last one was decreasing. In the back side, 1.4, 1.4, 1.4.4, and the third is 2, and then 250. Okay, that's that. So let's change cameras again. Oops, missed. Okay. So these are kind of my readings. So these two columns, everybody read 6 just fine. And I've got a 10, a 1.3 and 1.3 and 4. So these look more aligned to that. And then I got the points. This was decreasing. So I think these are in line. These are close. This one's higher than these. These and these match, and these and those match. These and these match. This one's kind of weird. So no definitive winner, except this is pretty far out of the reach. And this has got 1, 2 variances. I can't tell if this is a variance. So I think what I had to do is go back and read number 1 again and just check my numbers to make sure I did it right. It was the first one I read. So I always try to double check my measurements before I make a decision on removing chips. So we're going to go back to number 1, which is probably right around there. And we're going to reread. We're going to reread it. So I'm going to check my numbers and see if I did anything wrong. And this might make sense. I'm tending to think it's number 1 because it was the first. Because I'll make sure all of them are bad. So I can focus better than that, I think. Right? Yeah, there's something. Okay, so we're going to read the backside. Here's what I'm going to get. I'm going to get 6, 6, 1.5, which cleans that one up, and 0.8. Okay, so that fixes one of my measurements that I said was 10. Okay, so far that measures good. All right, the other one I had questions about, oh, let's look at the other side of those. So I want to measure the back side here. Oops. 1.5, 0.5, which is, gets rid of the 87K. 2.3. And 10. Let me update that. 1.5, 2.2, 2.3, and what's that last one? I think it, instead of 254, it was way lower. 10 megohms. Ah, data's changed. Okay, so now number 1 is no longer out of the question. It matches really close to number 2. And then let me see where the number 3. So I'm having a problem with number 3 on the very last read. Oh, number 2 on the 7th pin. My 7th pin measuring is 14 to 19. So let's go check number 2 again. Make sure I measured it right. So it was the third pin on this side. Let's see what we read again there. So this time I'm reading 1.6. So that fixes that one. We may find that there's no difference between all these guys. All right, so I've matched number 1 and number 2. I've still got a weird reading on number 3 and number 4 to check. So let's go to number 3. Here. Now my weird reading on number 3 that I need to check was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7th reading and the 8th. So the last 2 pins I read right here. No wonder they're kind of hard to see. So there's 1. And I'm getting 1.6 instead of 14. Okay, good. So that fixed that one. And then this one has something like, I'm getting 10 on it. So that fixed that. And then the last one, the only thing out of the ordinary was the 3rd pin and the last pin. So let's recheck our readings here. Who knows? Maybe this last one's actually the first one. I don't know. I don't know how they program it. I don't know which order it reads the bus. So on this one, I need to check the third reading, which is right there. Let me get over where I can get to it. Still showing, 3rd reading is showing 10. Just verifying I'm in there. Yeah, it's 10.3 now. So it's not 4, it's 10.3. So let me try that one more time. 3rd, wait a minute. Yeah, that is the first one I'm doing. So the 3rd pin, 10.3 mega ohms. Okay. And then I want to look at the last pin. And I'm getting a more normal reading, which is 10.4 mega ohms. So the only thing that I'm getting a weird resistance on this board, and I'm going to switch cameras on you. Oh no, I had the wrong camera on anyway, so what the heck. So let's come on back here. Sorry about that. I was just rereading them. So I updated my chart. The only thing out of the ordinary is this 3rd pin, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll see the pin diagram in just a second. Let's go find the pin diagram and see what that is and see if it's anything we need to be concerned with. Sorry for having the wrong video on, but had to check all those. So let's do this. Now, this is not the pin out, this is the pin number, but let's go look somewhere down here. It'll actually show a picture of the chip. Here we go. So I think what I was measuring was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which would put it, the 3rd pin, which is D minus, is what I was measuring. I'm not sure that's right. D minus is what goes to the temperature sensor on the chip. So I might have had things a little backwards. I think this is the dot, actually. This is the voltage. So maybe I'm being right. So it looks like the last 2 on the back side. Oh, no, I got it right. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this was the far side. I'm confused. Let me overlay the temperature sensor video on there. See if I can do that. I'm not positive, but let's try it. So if I turn this around like the pinout is, I'm just going to take a look at one of these. Okay, just a second. I'm going to try to turn on my video at the same time. And maybe you might see both. I'm not sure how it's going to behave. Not sure what it's going to record. Wrong source though. Hopefully you can see this. All right, so this is the diagram of how it is. So actually the voltage is up top here and going down this side. And so the bad one I was reading was the third one down from the back side. Yeah, we were a little bit backwards. So I was reading it, probably should have followed the pinout diagram. So I was reading that third pin, which looks to be pin 2. And pin 2 is the diode 3. So I'm getting a weird resistance from pin 2, I think. And I probably should triple check with that pin 2 right there. And I'm going to check it right now. I forget which one. That was on the 4th one. So it's actually not that one. Let me flip this. Let me get to the right place so you can actually see it. Over here somewhere. Over here somewhere. No, it's too far. All right. So this is the one I got a funny reading out, and I was got a reading of on the 3rd pin from the back. I got a 10.3. So let's check this out. Right there. Hopefully this is the one. Yeah, well now I'm getting 1.4. That's why I always check this. So now it's okay. Unless I'm wrong. So let me check out. Let's go back here. Maybe I misnumbered these guys. That's why I write stuff down. That's the 1.5. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so it is this one on that pin. Hold on. Let me see, I was here. 3rd pin. I got a 10.4, 10.3. Okay, so that's that reading. Let me make sure it's going to hold. Okay, so this guy's reading 10 and the others weren't, right there. And so if this is, let me see, this is in the orientation of the document, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So whatever, it's pin 6, the alert. So the alert's reading wrong. Okay, it's kind of bizarre. So I don't know if you saw the video, but I'm gonna stop screen share. And what pin it was this top pin up above the 4, in between the 4 and the T, or the T and the 4 up there, okay? Might have that backwards. How about in between the 5 and the 1? This one screen's backwards, one video screen's backwards. So I'm getting a weird reading from U19. U19 is the furthest away of all the temperature sensors, which is kind of crazy. Now, what does that mean? The question is, I don't know. So I'm almost back to square one. If you look at this video, you can actually see where the diode guys come out and go through the board right here. Boom, boom. I think they go through here and on this side, to tell you the truth, but I'm not positive. So this is where it goes to the board. So I'm really measuring a resistance to the chip on one of the pins of the chip. So what I might do is go find that pin on the chip and measure the resistance on the chip to the ground. And I might even use diode resistance on these and redo this with the diode resistance, and maybe I can see some differences there. But this is the process I look at these temperature sensors just to try to grab their health. I do have these. I can replace it. They're not that hard to replace. You just use a heat gun and some flux, and they kind of ride around where they're supposed to be if you orient them right way. But anyway, I just want to show you the process I use. Sometimes you find it, and sometimes you don't. I'm going to go back through with diode resistance and do the same thing again. So I hope some of this helps you on the process of looking at these guys. And then you're still down to if you find something out of whack, is it the chip or is it the temperature sensor? Good question. So I think the next check, if I found this guy's off, is really to go to the chip and test the chip on the pin against the top of the chip, because that gives you the resistance as it goes through the chip to the chip ground on top. So I think you might get some different readings in measuring against just this chip base on the back. And I would probably do that next and see what differences I got there. And then after that, maybe the diode resistance might show something. And then other than that, maybe reflash the PIC chip and then start replacing stuff, because I don't know quite. If I had an oscilloscope, I might be able to see the data or the pattern going in and out. So I might do that. So just wanted to share what I do. Unfortunately, this board didn't yield a real clear result, except I know this guy's different. And I don't know why he's different. So further investigation is necessary. So again, join that Discord. We can talk more about this on Discord. It's really hard on the YouTube comments. And please hit subscribe if you like this kind of stuff, and the bell to get notified. And I think we're good. And if you like the video and don't like it, do that too. Okay? Thank you very much for watching.